Hey everyone, this is Katie with OCI. We have Seb here to speak to us about Oscar. Seb, you're good to go.
Katie, thank you so much for having me. Just want to make sure my audio's coming through okay.
Yep, you're good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me today and everyone giving me 20 to 30 minutes out of their busy day. This is that time of the year where we're all going 100 miles an hour. So let's go ahead and begin. Oops. My name's Sebastian Alcantara. Hopefully we've interacted at some point. If we haven't, please reach out to me. I would love to get to know you. You can call me Seb. You can call me Sebas. Quick fun fact here. 2 weeks ago, I celebrated my 6th year anniversary with Oscar. So as you'll see in a few slides, I'll talk about how much the company's grown over the course of that time. So our agenda for today, quick introduction on Oscar in case you're not familiar. This will be our 3rd year in Nebraska, so still relatively newer to the game, if you will. What makes us different, some updates for 2024, how to work with us, and then getting in touch. Now, I do want to level set some expectations before we begin here. Number one, as a preview, and I'll talk about this more a little bit later on, is we probably still will not be the most competitive plan in Nebraska for 2024, where everybody else has a dual network local to Omaha, Lincoln. We will very much still be one statewide network, which puts us out of the game in terms of pricing. So I do want to be transparent and upfront about that. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and begin. A little bit about Oscar, probably have already seen or heard this spiel at some point, but we're the first health insurance company built around a full stack technological platform with a relentless focus on serving our members. We combine technology with our member-centric approach to drive more cost savings and provide higher satisfaction to our members. Here's that slide I was talking about in terms of growth. So when I started at Oscar, had right around 90,000 members covered nationwide. Fast forward to today, we are above 1 million members nationwide. Now, there are two things I want to mention here that are very exciting, important announcements from this year. Number one, back in April, we took on a new CEO by the name of Mark Bertolini. If that name sounds familiar, or maybe you haven't heard of Mark, he used to be the CEO at Aetna, and he was an integral part of the Aetna CVS merger deal. So very happy to have him playing for our team now, someone with a lot of experience in the industry. And then the second piece of news, which I think is the most exciting piece of news and also most important piece of news to share, is we had an earnings call last month, and we announced that for the first time in company history, through the first 6 months of this year, we are a profitable insurance business. One more time, through the first 6 months of this year, we are a profitable insurance business. You might be wondering, why is that so important? Well, there has been a lot of disruption in the ACA over the last year or two, a lot of worries about who's exiting markets, who's staying, what's going on. So we very much want to be a steady Eddie in the ACA markets. And it's just the old adage, right? It takes money to make money, to grow, and to have a bigger presence. And speaking of presence, here's our footprint across the entire country these days. We're in 20 different states, almost 600 counties, 3 different product lines, above 2,700 employees. And through the first 3 months of this year, we took in $1.6 billion in direct policy premiums. So what actually makes Oscar different? Well, when members engage with us, we help them realize cost savings. We try to make it as easy for members to navigate their healthcare journey, which has driven record levels of member engagement and ultimately driven lower out-of-pocket costs and better health outcomes. Now, we very much want to be a carrier where our members are not, we don't want our members to be afraid to call us, to interact with us, use our app. We can hopefully get them to where they need to go at the lowest cost possible. So that's ultimately our goal. There's 4 key components that make up the Oscar difference. One is patient-centric networks with trusted doctors, care teams that support the individual, plans designed to help members save, and convenient access to in-person and virtual care. let's talk a little bit more about virtual care. Well, there's two components that comprise of the Oscar Care experience. Those two I will talk about are virtual urgent care and our care teams. So we make it easy for our members to talk to a provider with our $0 virtual urgent care feature, whether it's getting diagnosed for non-life-threatening urgent conditions, receiving necessary new prescriptions, refilling existing prescriptions, getting treatment plans for a variety of common conditions. We want people to take advantage of this benefit. Now, the two things I like to highlight here is one, this is a benefit that we've made available to our members since day one when we launched in 2014. So I know I know virtual care has been very trendy over the last 2 or 3 years, especially with the pandemic that happened. Everyone suddenly started using Teledoc. This is a benefit, again, we've offered to our members since day one, 10 years ago. The second thing to mention here is this service is all proprietary and internal. So the doctors that your clients would speak with are actual Oscar in-network doctors. It's not a third-party service. You're not dialing a different number and get directed somewhere else. So those are the two big takeaways here. Now, I've talked about the tech side of Oscar. Let's talk about the human touch side of Oscar. So we have an entire team dedicated to every member, and we go above and beyond for our members, whether they're trying to find in-network doctors, understanding claims, seeking care. We're there to help them navigate their health care journey. These are the wonderful faces that are assisting your clients on a daily basis. Excuse me. One important thing to note here is ever since March of 2020, or let me backtrack up a second. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. As you'll see in a future slide here, I've got a lot of geography to cover. I'm currently sitting in a hotel room in Houston, but I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. Our office has essentially been shut down since March of 2020. 2 weeks ago, we announced that we're formally returning to office this month. So very excited to build team camaraderie, get to see my colleagues, have that just team environment. I thrive in that. I love talking to people. So very excited to get back to our Tempe, Arizona office. Important updates for 2024. So what's new for 2024? Well, as you know, all carriers, not just Oscar, are being limited in what plans or how many plans they can offer. So across the board, it's one standard plan at each metallic tier, and then 4 additional non-standard plans. Another exciting piece of news is at this time last year, we were very much in preservation mode, very much limiting our growth, no service area expansion for 2023. Now I can announce that we do have exciting service area expansion for 2024. So we're entering 120 new counties nationwide. Obviously, Nebraska has the nuance that if you're going to enter the, one part of the state, you have to enter the whole enchilada. So can't expand within Nebraska, but here are the states that we are expanding in, which are Ohio, Virginia, Florida, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa, Arizona, Kansas, Missouri, and Illinois. Say that 5 times fast. We're also launching more plans that are specific to some certain chronic conditions. One specifically would be the Silver Simple Breathe Easy with COPD benefits. That's a plan that's available in select markets. And then RX deductibles for our elite portfolio of plans. I'll expand on that in a second. So let's talk about our favorite 3-letter government agency. No, I'm not talking about the FBI, CIA, or everyone's real favorite agency, the IRS. I am talking about CMS. Now, listen carefully here. In order to enroll an Oscar client in 2024, you are going to have to record your calls for us. I'm pausing for dramatic effect. No, I'm totally kidding. You don't have to do that. I just like to scare everyone a little bit. So as you know, CMS has rolled out some updates for next year. One I already highlighted, which trimming down the plan portfolio to 1 standard, 4 non-standard at each metallic tier. Second update, as you're aware, consent forms are being required now. So if you already have an existing template, use that. If you use Health Sherpas, whatever, make sure you just keep it for your safe record keeping. We are not mandating that you send it to us or keep it on the Oscar Broker portal or anything crazy like that. Listen, Nebraska is not a market I have to worry about where there's some fraudulent behavior going on. If we were in a different geographic part of the country, I'd be having a different conversation. Let's talk about our service area expansion that's relevant to states near Nebraska. Again, since we're not going to have the most competitive product in Nebraska, let's at least talk about markets where we do have a right to win, and where Oscar is feasible to sell and where you can grow with Oscar, if you will. So in today's world, we are in 25 counties in Iowa. We're expanding into 50 new counties, making it 75 counties there. So very excited about that expansion. Another one is Missouri. Unfortunately, they didn't give me a sleek graphic for the state of Kansas, but some of the expansion is actually on the Kansas side. Some of it is on Missouri. So we're going into Topeka, and then some surrounding counties around Kansas City. Now, let's talk about networks for next year. Well, again, as I mentioned earlier, hinted towards it, only one network in Nebraska still in partnership with Midland's Choice. So again, we will probably not be your preferred carrier for consumers that are price sensitive. But again, that doesn't mean that we're going anywhere. We're still committed to this market, and we're rearranging strategy so that hopefully in 2025, we can come to you and say, we're going to have a local network and then a statewide network. But again, the gist here, if you're familiar with us now, there's not going to be any change on a network in 2024 specific to Nebraska. In Iowa, Iowa's kind of unique. There's really only 3 major health systems there. So it's either Mercy One, Unity Point, or the university system. We partnered with Mercy One. We're very happy with our partnership with them. In fact, for 2024, what we're doing is we're actually renaming our plans to have co-branded plans with Mercy One. So if you sell any plans in Iowa, you'll probably see our plans named something like Oscar plus Mercy One Bronze Elite, for example. So again, still in Nebraska, still committed to the market, don't really have a major right to win, just being transparent with you. But here's an area where if you do want to grow your book of business with Oscar, Iowa is an opportunity. Another one, I'll briefly touch on this one, but excuse me, Kansas City. We are expecting to be the lowest cost silver plan in Kansas City. And as far as hospitals go there, if anyone's familiar with the area, we work with every system there except St. Luke's and Children's Mercy. So KU, Advent Health, HCA, North Kansas City, Olathe, really, really, really strong network. And for what it's worth, the market in the central region that I'm the most bullish on for us in 2024. Let's move on to some plan spotlights. So this is a plan that we debuted, I want to say 2 or 3 years ago now. It is unfortunately being, copied in some markets by other carriers. I mean, it's a wonderful plan. Bronze Elite, $0 medical deductible from day one. Comes with low PCP, low lab copays. Here's what it'll look like in 2024. This is going to be, there's only going to be one Bronze Elite plan in Nebraska, and it's this one that's on your screen now. It's called the Bronze Elite PCP Saver. Again, no medical deductible. There is an RX deductible, which is there. Every medical service will have a copay from the very first day. Now, the one nuance to the RX deductible is that generic medications do not apply to the deductible because generic medications are available from the very first day with a copay. So no need to worry about reaching the RX deductible for generic medications. Now, again, this plan is still not going to be low cost in Nebraska. It will be lower cost, relatively speaking, compared to some of our other plans, but still won't be low cost. But if anyone wants a plan that has a $0 medical deductible from day one and just wants to know, hey, if I'm going to the doctor, here's how much I'm going to pay. If I'm going to the specialist, this is how much I'm going to pay. Well, then this is the plan for them. Any of your consumers that are more interested in a silver plan, again, probably won't be low cost. I shouldn't say probably. We, in fact, will not be low cost, silver in Nebraska, but we still are offering this plan. Anyone that does qualify for CSRs, maybe they really love Oscar, or maybe in a particular rating area, we are projecting, for example, rating area 3 and 4, where we will be a little bit closer in terms of pricing. This will definitely be a plan at the silver level to consider. I didn't include the specific benefits, as the benefits do vary a lot more by market, whereas the bronze elite is fairly standardized across markets. Condition specific plans. So the diabetes silver plan, this is actually something that we launched 2 years ago. So this will be our 3rd year. Anyone that is managing type 1 or type 2, definitely a plan for them to consider. We've specifically built this plan with benefits for those that are managing that chronic condition. This plan will be continued to be offered in Nebraska for 2024. Free perk. Sorry, that was Siri talking in the background there. Free perk for being enrolled in that silver diabetes plan is we do have a partnership with Livongo, so there are some free perks there. They'll give you a $50 debit card for healthy groceries, and then they'll incentivize you to give you another $50 if you go to annual exams, checkups, physicals, and then they also have access to a national network of gyms. Pharmacy, not any change really from this year to next year to make note of. Pretty standard 4-tier formulary, pretty standard for the nuance, non-formulary exceptions if they need to go to the doctor, get the paperwork submitted to us, prior authorization, step therapy, again, fairly standard across the board there. This is the one nuance with our prescriptions, is that we do have a tier 1A and a tier 1B. Tier 1A are preferred generic medications. We've actually identified that 82% of Oscar members are prescribed or could switch to a tier 1A medication. That list includes 97 drugs with 298 variations, including some branded insulins. So this $3 copay benefit is available from day one on all plans except HSA and catastrophic plans. Can't do that on those plans. Regulators don't like it. They don't want us to do it. So again, tier 1A on all plans, $3 or less, except HSA catastrophic. Here are benefit partners for other miscellaneous items. We do work with CVS Caremark. No, that does not mean that it is only CVS pharmacies in our network. There are other pharmacies. They're just our pharmacy vendor. And then the other one that's important to note here, Quest and LabCorp for lab benefits. Again, Quest and LabCorp. Broker commissions, this is the part where everyone's ears, I joke around, perk up a little bit. No change really from us from this year to next year, so fairly standard across the board. I think in years past, I've only included the Nebraska commission rate, but I want to give you transparency and show you what we pay in every market. Again, since Nebraska won't be our most competitive market for next year, you can at least see what it's like in Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, other states nearby. But again, in Nebraska specifically, $20 per member per month, new and renewing business, maximum of 5 lives per policy. Broker oversight. Again, Nebraska is not a market that I lose sleep over at night because there's just some grand fraud scheme going on. But we did launch a broker oversight team, and I do want to highlight that here. They're basically there just to monitor and investigate non-compliance, enforce Oscar's business rules, drive transparency with brokers, elevate broker knowledge. You should have gotten an email from us either the last week of August or the first week of September to sign the new producer agreement. That, is available to be signed in the Oscar broker portal. The screenshot on the right will actually show you where it's located. So when you log in on the homepage, there's a box there that says sign producer agreement. And then I do want to make note of this. Let's say that you have clients in your book of business and one day they suddenly go missing, or you see some evident fraudulent behavior going on. Please, 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 please report that to us. We specifically created this team at Oscar to monitor that and get on top of things. Broker oversight at highoscar.com. One more time, broker oversight at highoscar.com. Two things to note. This is the last slide, I promise. hioscar.com/brokers. That's where you'd get all of our plan and network documents. I'll make sure to get Nebraska specific materials over to the team at OCI so they can distribute them to you guys. Our plan grids are actually available already on our website. We are expecting network overviews and other miscellaneous items to be available within the next week or two. And then the Oscar broker portal, business.hioscar.com. That's where you would get appointed, quote and enroll clients, view and download commission statements. I think OCI does a wonderful job of making your life as an agent easy so that you can focus on what you do best, which is serving your clients. So yeah, that wraps up my presentation for today. Again, want to say thank you so much for giving me time out of your busy day. I know we don't have the most wonderful offering for Nebraska in 2024, but work with us. We're getting our ducks in a row, and in 2025, we're looking to bring a competitive local network and then a statewide network. So stick with us. We're not going anywhere. We're not exiting. We don't want to, scare anybody. My contact information is there. Again, if we've never interacted, send me an email, give me a phone call. Would love to get to know you.
Thanks, Seb. I think there is a question in the chat if you want to answer that quick.
Yes, let me go take a look at it. Will Oscar be issuing new ID cards for every member based on the new ruling requiring family members and benefits being listed on the ID card? Yes, regardless, everyone will be getting a new ID card for 2024. So if you do renew with us, but yeah, I know that there's some new requirements. So there will be updated 2024 ID cards that will be mailed out. Looks like another one just came in. I didn't receive an email to update Boca. Yeah, so if you didn't get the email for whatever reason to sign the new producer agreement, you just want to go here where it says business.hioscar.com. That's the broker portal. When you log into the home page, there's a little section there that says start selling, and then that box that you see here that says sign producer agreement, you would just click on that and then you can sign the updated agreement. Great question. Will Oscar change how they cover chiropractic care? Currently, as explained to us, it's only covered if it's a new visit and not for maintenance routine care. Will that be the same for 2024? Let me follow up with our benefits team. I know that there's some nuances and certain benefits are changing, especially with plan portfolios getting trimmed down. So let me follow up with you. I'll get you the answer to that by the end of today. Great question, though.
All right, perfect. If there are no more questions, thank you again, Seb.